Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for another OPTC video, and in today's video, we're moving on to MAGELLAN now of the Trio Legend release over here on Global, or whatever you want to call it. But we're moving on to MAGELLAN now, and we're going to be showcasing him in a few different events throughout the game. And I gotta say, look, I was actually very impressed with this particular character. I definitely did not give him enough credit for what he can actually do. Lots of people were saying he's the best quick captain, and I wasn't disagreeing, but I didn't think he was like that much ahead of some of the other quick captains. But he is like miles ahead of stuff like Smoker, and honestly, even Sugar in a sense. If you know what you're doing with Sugar, Sugar's probably a little bit better, but like MAGELLAN is still a very, very good unit. The downside to him is he revolves around poison. But in today's video, we are taking on the Garp challenges. We are hopping into Eneru, Hody, and Navy, and we are using different teams. There's just been so much going on, I didn't have time to sit down and do like a one team beats all, or honestly, I couldn't really be bothered, to be honest. But let's take a look at what this character actually does. He is a 5 times a captain if your HP is 70% or above, 4.5 times otherwise. He boosts all other colors by 4 times, and then boosts HP by 1.3. He also removes paralysis by 10 turns as a captain, and heals 25% of the damage during that battle when moving into the next one, which is a very, very strong ability, and very underrated. That amount of healing, if you need to stall and stuff like that, is very, very good. And if you tee it up with his super typing, it works very, very nicely. His special reduces all enemies' HP by 10%, which is good. It means he does damage. Reduces burn and bind by 3 turns. Doubles the color affinity of all characters. And then, applies a progressive poison to all enemies, which does 50 times character's attack and strengthens up to 3 million damage. If the enemies are already poisoned, however, he then gives the crew a 2.5 times rainbow attack boost. Now, this guy has double special activation, which means that if you can get that poison off, you can actually get a 2.5 times attack boost to your entire squad, which is really, really, really nice. His super typing can be activated when you've got Hannibal, Shiryu, Domino, Sadie, Saldeth, Boa Hancock, Sengoku, Sakazuki, Kuzen, and Borsalina. So, in my Hody run, I wasn't sure if it was all just the Admirals and Sengoku, but nevertheless, it is Sengoku as well. So, just ignore me when I say, I can't even remember what I said. It was something about, like, it's Borsalino or Sengoku, but look, it's both, so that works really, really nicely. The super type special completely removes poison, which is great for the Hody stage. Heals 25% of the damage received during that battle while moving forward to the next phase, and then turns all quick characters into super quick. So, very, very strong character. His support is actually very, very good if you put him on, Sadie, Domino, Shiryu, Hannibal, or Saldeth. He does a bunch of poison up to 1 million, which is actually pretty nice. But nevertheless, like I said, we are going to take him to the Garp challenges. And with that said, let's dive in. Alright, so we're starting over here at Eneru. So this is the team. These are the supports. Let's dive in. Now, the key supports for Eneru, for this particular team anyway, is the putting on our Sanji. Now, you don't need to run this particular Sanji if you do want to copy this team. As I did mention in the beginning of the video, like they will be different teams throughout for each Garp challenge. But if you don't have that limited rare crit Sanji, don't stress. Just bring Solar Mask, or just literally just bring any Sanji at all. As long as that Sanji, it is a Sanji. Even Reiju should work. As long as it's like a powerhouse unit, it's a quick unit, and it can use the pudding support, it will work. The only other notable thing about this particular team is Carousel needs to be limit break keyed, so that way he has fear resistance as well. Other than that, everything else is pretty stock standard when it comes to this particular team. But this particular team actually did it very, very well. Actually tore through it very, very fast. So, the beautiful thing about MAGELLAN as captain, obviously he is a 5 times quick captain. And he does have double special activation. And for this particular piece of content, it actually works in your favor a lot, as there is a lot of bind, there is a lot of burn, and you can actually access MAGELLAN's special 4 times, provided you have your MAGELLAN limit break rainbowed, or like just having that double special activation maxed, and as well as your friend. So once we do hit that second stage, normally we just sort of stall out the bind, but with MAGELLAN special, we can actually get around that. On the Tweedledee and Tweedledum stage, they give us burn, so we're going to use the other MAGELLAN special, or you can use your second MAGELLAN special if you have access to that. But if you do have double special activation on both MAGELLANs, you can actually use the other MAGELLAN or yours, however you want to do it. But basically, that way you can get the color affinity as well as the attack buff, the 2.5 times rainbow attack buff. And then if you have barrier pen maxed on your MAGELLANs, you can do stuff like this. Just hit your perfects, and then just let the 2 MAGELLANs attack through the barrier. Easy peasy, Bob's your uncle. Moving on to the next stage, we come up against Wiper and the 2 Skypiea lackeys. They're just going to do a HP cut on entry. They give themselves an attack up, and that's really about it. Unfortunately, on stage 2, we actually get special blinded, so it does restrict what specials you can use. But lucky for us, the captains don't ever get special blinded, so that's why having Magellan as captain just works so damn well for this particular team. Or for this particular build, I should say. Depending on how lucky you get, like if you get Bellamy, like not special blinded, you could easily use his special here and there if you do need more damage. But on this particular stage against Wiper, you just really want to take your time, use the natural stall to move on to stage 5 against the next 2 Skypiea enemies. Now these guys are a bit annoying as they give us 3 turns of special reverse? I think it's 3 turns. 3 turns of special reverse, and they bind our ship, as well as having threshold on the dude with the ball. So yeah, 3 turns. So it's very, very annoying this particular stage, as if you don't kill the guy on the ball, he actually gives you attack down. But with this particular team and the switchability of Shank's crew just giving us those matching orbs and that attack boost, provided that you pretty much have, like, I think it's 4 orbs I think you need. If you've got 4 orbs on this particular team, you can actually take out the dude on the ball. Now, I do have my Magellan Limit Break keyed. I did so for Pirate Rumble. So if you don't kill there, don't stress. Like, you can just take your time. You get 4 turns of attack down, but it's not that big of an attack down to really ruin the run or anything like that. On the next turn, we can just take out the other Skypiea enemy. And that way, we can actually move on to the second last stage against and Gidatsu. Now, against and Gidatsu, they're going to bind our bottom row. But unfortunately for us, we've just been tearing through this so quick that we've only got 1 Magellan special available, and then we have to wait for the cooldown. So ideally, we want to hang on to that special for the final stage, as Eneru is actually going to turn into the opposite color to what our captain is, and that way the color affinity actually becomes viable. What we can do on this particular stage, though, is we can use the Shank's crew special. Now, the reason I use Shank's crew special here and don't remove the blind is so that way we can actually take out Now, I'm not going to have the 3.5 times chain lock for the final stage, but I do have super type Sabo on my Carousel unit. Before we take out Gidatsu, though, we are going to use one of the specials of Bellamy. He has double special activation, and with the support of Smoker, we can actually take out this particular stage fairly simply, which is really, really nice. Once we hit the final stage against Eneru, he's going to put up a barrier. He turns into the opposite color as our captain, as well as special blinding our crew and giving us Sailor Despair. He also stuns our captains too, so that's why utilizing pudding on our Sanji unit is very, very good. As you can see, though, I haven't actually used the Sanji special this entire run, but once we get to this final stage, I will actually be using it, as that way we can just give ourselves some more matching orbs. But with the switchability of Shanks for giving us an attack boost, as long as the Sanji can provide something, you're in going to be good stead. Sober Mask is a great replacement. Once we use the Magellan special, we can get color affinity as well. You do still have an orb boost with Bellamy, so just as long as you can get some matching orbs with the Sanji special, like I said, Sober Mask is a really, really good shout here, and you shouldn't have too many issues. So that was Eneru. Let's move on to the next Garp's challenge now against Navy. Alright, so moving on to Navy. This is the team. These are the supports. Let's dive in. So with this particular Garp's challenge, the notable supports for this particular team is the Hatchan on our Nami. Now, the beautiful thing about the Wedding Cake Nami, she is a Kazuna Rare recruit, but as I mentioned, this is a little bit more of a showcase video, not like a how-to. But if you need to replace her, you can replace her with something like Sanji Pudding if you were lucky enough to pull them on a Kazuna banner. Or you can use, like, Luffy... No. What's her name? Where did I get Luffy from? I was looking at Laffy, that's where I got it from. V2 VV Beck is another really, really good option. Unfortunately, you will need to do a bit of changing for this particular team if you do that, as Nami's great as she removes Threshold, and with the Hatchan support, we can actually get some recovery orbs through block orbs, which is very, very important, as that way we can get around the hunger on the Kobe Helmeppo stage. But other than that, everything else is pretty stock standard. I think we do have Corazon or Rayleigh on our Laffy unit, though. That is very helpful, as it gets rid of 2 turns of Despair and 2 turns of Bind. So besides Hatchan and Rayleigh/Corazon, you should be in good stead if you are using this team. Once we hit stage 3, though, this is where we are going to be showcasing that Nami special. She can remove the threshold and give us color affinity, which is awesome. She's also going to give us the recovery orbs with the Hatchan support. But make sure you do switch with your Shanks crew first. Very important that you do that, so that way you don't lose any recovery orbs. And with the Zunisha being our ship, we can actually make those recovery orbs matching as well. The Zunisha is a great ship for Magellan, as he is a powerhouse unit. And then there's a lot of very, very good quick powerhouse cerebral units that you can easily slap onto his team. As you can see there, we easily take out that stage with color affinity and an attack boost, and that way we can move on to the Smoker, Tashigi, and Hina stage. Now this is where the support of Corazon or Rayleigh becomes very, very handy, as we can actually remove the Despair. The bind we don't care about too much because we can actually remove that with our Magellan special, but we can't actually remove the Despair. So we are going to remove the rest of the bind with Magellan, and then the Despair's gone with our supports. We managed to put the poison effect on Smoker, Tashigi, and Hina. So with double special activation once again, if you have that maxed out, you can get a 2.5 times attack boost to your entire crew. With the switchability of Shank's crew, we can guarantee us some more matching orbs. And if you were a bit more of an intelligent player, unlike the Spoon of myself, you can actually move Laffy to where Bellamy is, and that way you can actually get another orb on Laffy, but it doesn't matter too much. Ideally, you just want to take out Tashigi on this turn. If you can kill Hina as well, it's just like another bonus. After we take those two out, we are going to start focusing on Smoker. If you don't kill Tashigi, she puts up attack down. After 2 turns, Hina does bind, and after 3 turns, Smoker does damage reduction. But the beautiful thing about running Magellan, actually, and I didn't mention this in the Eneru run, is he actually heals back 25% of the damage that you take in the previous turn. And then there's a lot of pinch healing and a lot of other effects come into play. And Magellan actually has a lot of healing, which works really, really nicely for these Garp's challenges. Once we hit the Kizaru stage, we're going to use the switchability of Shank's crew. We're going to use the special of Shank's crew and Laffy to get a 2.5 times orb boost, a 3.5 times chain lock, and a 1.75 times... 1.5 times attack boost. And as you can see, Kizaru just actually melts on that stage. We do have Barrier Pen with Magellan as well, so make sure to take advantage of that. Once we come up to the next stage against Fuji and his Chicky Babe friends, this stage is one of the most annoying in any Garp's challenge. We're actually going to get 4 taps, so we can only attack with 4 units. So what we can do here is we can use the special of Bellamy, and with the Smoker support, we can actually get an attack buff. So the Smoker support, I don't know if it's truly essential, but it definitely helps out a lot, and I would recommend using it if you have access to it. Otherwise, you might need to take 2 turns on good old Fuji there. And if you do, make sure not to let him take a knee. Otherwise, you will be in bad stead. We are going to hang around here until the 89 turn cooldown. And I'm just going to fast forward till there. Alright, so we farmed up some orbs along the way. And we did manage to get orbs on all of our characters except for Law, which is fine because we can always switch with him to give us a matching orb at the final stage. Once we hit the final stage, though, we come up against a Kainu. Now, Kainu only lets us use 2 specials on this particular stage. He has full immunity, he wipes away all community buffs, and he gives us 5 turns of burn. So once again, this is where Magellan's awesome, because Magellan can actually remove 3 turns of those burn. We can switch with Shank's crew, give ourselves a 1.5 times attack boost, and then we can get an orb buff with Laffy. Once we've done that, we have an orb boost, we have a cheeky little attack boost, we have like a massive color affinity boost as well, and we should be able to take out a Kainu, but just be mindful that a Kainu does have a res mechanic. Now, Magellan doesn't remove all the burn, but as you can see, we have enough damage that we can just hit goods and greats, and hit a couple perfects here and there because we have so much healing, we're at max HP, and it just works so nicely. Even if you guys are stalling on the Fuji stage, you should have enough HP to hit some perfects there. When a Kainu revives, though, he puts up 2 turns of threshold, so we can remove that with our Nami unit. Nami is going to give us color affinity as well, and then you can just like take your pick. You can use the Shank's crew special, you can use the Bellamy special, it's really up to you, and it all works out very, very nicely. So that was Navy with Magellan. Again, did it very, very well. Let's move on to the final challenge now against Hody. Alright, so for the final Garp's challenge, we're coming up against the Fishman or Hody Jones. So this is the team, these are the supports, and for one last time, let's dive in. So with Hody, very similar to Eneru, you actually get Fear and a particular debuff. And with Hody, it's actually Special Reverse. Now, unlike Moria that we did showcase yesterday, I think that's how I'm scheduling these videos, Magellan doesn't have that luxury, I would say, of having the super type to remove the special reverse. But with this particular team, I did include Versa Kainu, and really the only reason I did that was purely so I could get access to Magellan's super typing. No other real reason. Versa Kainu is amazing, but like you could easily replace him with like the limited rare recruit. A Kainu, you could use something like a Kuzan unit. You've got the V3 Kuzan, V1 Kuzan. There's a lot of very, very good options there. And you've also got a lot of Sengoku units. I'm pretty sure Sengoku triggers it as well. I might be wrong there. It might be Borsalino. And if it isn't Sengoku, then I do apologize. But let me know in the comment section below, because I'm pretty sure now I'm thinking about it, it's actually just Kizaru. It's the 3 Admirals. That would make more sense. Sengoku might be there too. But if he is there, you have a lot of really good options. Now, with Magellan, Once we get to stage 3, stereotypically teams struggle on this particular stage, namely because of the orb barriers. But with Magellan, we can actually utilize his poison mechanic and his double special to actually give us a 2.5 times attack boost. Now, as you guys saw on the previous stage, I actually used Shanks Crew's special to just easily take out Hody as well as those original lackeys. Now, the reason I actually did that was so I could get the carryover into this stage, and then we could just blitz through this particular fight, as we do have a lot of barrier pen. Once we hit the Hyozu and Vanderdecken stage, this is why I really wanted to have Magellan's super typing available to us, namely because I wanted to remove the poison. With Magellan's super type, we can actually remove all kinds of poison, as well as give us some more healing with the damage we take. On this particular stage, you get block, unfavorable, and bomb orbs, but hopefully you guys get lucky enough to get some more matching orbs underneath your Shanks Crew, well, around your Shanks Crew, I should say. Ideally, you just want to take out Vanderdecken, and then we can focus on Hyozu on the next turn. There is end of turn damage as well, but don't stress, because we have access to the super typing of Magellan, we're actually getting a lot more healing every time we take damage. Once we hit the next stage against Zeo and Dosan, they are going to put up 4 turns of threshold. So with this particular stage, we are going to use the Bobbin special to remove that threshold, but we are going to need that Bobbin special back by the final fight, as we need him to remove the defense up. Ideally, we are going to take 3 turns here on Dosan. We don't actually need the 3 turns, but we're definitely going to be taking them. As I mentioned, you do want to make sure you get Bobbin special back, and having him Limit Break Key is going to help you guys out significantly. But if you do have Versakina, you're going to be okay, as there is a nice little trick for the next stage to get around the annoying Daruma mini-boss, but that's for a little bit later in the video. So once we get to the Dosan stage, ideally you want to try and farm up some orbs in the 3 turns. That's another big reason we want to sort of hang around here, and that way we can sort of take advantage of the orb seal mechanic that gets inflicted to us on the Daruma and the Icarus Much stage. Once again, we have the Zunisha ship, so that way we're getting access to more recovery and TNT orbs being beneficial. And with the switchability of Shanks Crew on the previous turn, you can easily manipulate those orbs as well as Don, Krieg, and Jin. But as you guys saw, you still need to attack to actually kill. So once we hit this particular stage against Daruma and Icarus Much, we actually get burn. So with the double specialized activation of Magellan once again, we can actually remove all the burn, as well as give ourselves a color affinity buff. Now that color affinity buff doesn't matter too much. We are going to activate the super typing as well as the special of Don, Krieg, and Jin. That way we actually have an orb buff as well as a little attack buff with our Shanks Crew switch ability. Now once we've got all those buffs active, we can easily take out Icarus, and then we can focus on Daruma. Now, against Daruma, we are going to hang around here for a little while, and the big reason we're going to do that is to get our Bobbin special back. The thing about this particular fight as well is when we are running mono quick, we stereotypically don't do that much damage to Daruma, as he is a dex unit. We do have access to Don, Krieg, and Jin being strength, though, so this particular team doesn't struggle too much, but we also have access to Versakina's versatility. Now, just be mindful, Daruma actually hits very hard, so that's why you want to actually use the super typing of Magellan here, so that way we can heal back on the next turn. He hits us for about 8k, so any recovery orbs that you guys see along the way, make sure to gobble them up, as they are just going to keep you in a nice chunky HP pool. We do have the switchability of Don, Krieg, and Jin after their dual form expires, so make sure you are switching with them too for that 20% damage reduction. Every 3 turns or so, Daruma is going to bind 2 of your random units, but as soon as you get that Bobbin special down to I think it's a 1-turn cooldown, and you will be fine. I think I went like a little bit, or I might have gone like 1 turn extra, but I think once you get him down to a 1-turn cooldown, you're all fine, because we are going to stall 1 extra turn on the final stage against Hody. Once we do hit that final stage against Hody, he actually rolls our specials back by 1. Well, 2. It goes down to 1 with preemptive, and then gives us Sailor Despair for 3 turns. He also has full immunity and a 2-turn defense buff, and on the second turn he puts up damage reduction. So that's why using Bobbins works so well, because Bobbins can remove all types of defensive effects. He doesn't discriminate. Defense up, damage reduction, threshold, you name it, Bobbins will remove it, which is really nice. We do have the switchability of our Don, Krieg, and Jin to give us damage reduction, and because we used the super typing on the previous turn, we have a lot of healing, and we actually can tank that shot from Hody. Once we've stalled that first turn, we've got a orb buff with our Versakina. As I mentioned, you could easily replace him with like Kuzen Kuzan's really, really good because he's an orb booster and a color affinity booster. We have the chain lock with Shanks. We have the attack boost with Shanks. We have color affinity with our Magellan special. And because we are running Shanks, we can actually have access to the Psi variation. Now, we don't have as much of an attack boost as our quick units, but we do have color affinity. And because of that color affinity, we can get a little bit more damage, but nevertheless, I don't think it's that essential. I really just wanted to show off the Magellan special one more time. I actually forgot if I'd if I'd recorded it in the first 2 runs, and funny enough, I recorded it in all 3, so good on you, Pass Stump, but didn't need to see them all 3 times. With that, we can take out Hody easy peasy, and that's going to wrap up the Magellan vs. Garp challenge video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and if you did, make sure to go down there and belt the like button for me. If you're new to the channel, hit the big red subscribe button too. But guys, wherever you are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, I thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Later!